typically when I'm doing a product review, once I get my hands on that product, one of the first things I assess is, before even worrying about price, is act like price isn't even in the picture of doing a review. And then that comes secondary. And that really came in handy with reviewing the Soundcore Liberty 3 Pros. Namely because for $169, that's the retail price of these, it's pretty dang impressive with not just design and look and all the features that these have to offer, especially with the app, but just how good of quality they feel, in the ears, the sound, all that stuff. Now, I'm not going to say that these are the best at any one thing, but they're definitely good overall when it comes to just being great for the price and everything you get for that price, all things considered. So welcome back everybody, it's Adam. Thanks for watching this review ahead of time. And for starters, I want to go over design of the earbuds. Now there's only one minor flaw. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but I'll just say it up front. Despite how cool these look and everything I'm going to go over, the minor flaw I noticed right away that is the only thing that makes me not like the case and the fit and things like that is putting them back in the case. Most of the time they do connect properly with the magnets, but as you can see, the light's not going on because how it feels when I put it in the case compared to really making sure it's lined up and readjusting it, depending on the ear wing tip, it doesn't fit all the way. And so I noticed that by taking it out of my ears a few different times now and trying to play something on my phone just through the speaker and whatnot, and noticing it's still connected to the left earbud. I only noticed that with the left earbud, I'm not sure the right. So taking them in and out of the case is pretty weird. I mean, I could even show you, and I know I'm going into a flaw, but hey, there's more pros than cons. But just doing that right now while I was talking to you to put them in my ears felt really weird. It doesn't feel natural. And even when I put them back in the case, I can show you, like, this is really, it just feels like I'm about to drop them, every single time I do that. Besides that, I do like how they slide up and how on the back you have USB-C and a reset button and connection button for Bluetooth connectivity. They work really well. Now, as far as the earbuds as well, not talking about the case, the earbuds are awesome. I mean, I like how they have multiple ear tips and ear wings so you can get the best fit possible. And basically, it's almost like an app for earbuds and fit. You just have so much customization. At first, you think it's excessive until you really go through and cycle each one to see the best fit. But once you got the best fit in, I mean, I've been able to wear these for like 3 hours plus, no ear fatigue or nothing, barely even noticing they're there. Compared to, let's say, the Bose Quiet Comfort earbuds, which have been my favorite earbuds for a long time, major difference. I mean, I noticed the fit with the Bose compared to these right away because there's just so much more customizability with these. So overall, when it comes to design, the fit and everything, the colorway is just really the highlight, especially the black with that silver burst look and the rose gold accents inside the earbud. With the overall build of these, I think it just complements it so well to make it look kind of alien-like, but at the same time, a little luxurious, a little bit of a luxurious looking earbud. But, not many earbuds with a black colorway or white colorway pull off something different, and I really feel like Soundcore did with these earbuds. Now, other things that are important to mention about the hardware of these earbuds are the sensors to detect autoplay and autopause, whether it's the left or the right earbud. Now, it's a pretty big sensor on the inside right here, if I could show it right, on the inside right here. And one of the biggest things about it that I noticed was a flaw was it didn't work well in the cold, and that includes the touch sensors on each earbud. So I'll go over the controls along with the app here in a second. But when it comes to that, I go for evening walks where I live, and it's probably about 35 degrees maybe. I think some nights it hits about 25. And the touch sensors and autoplay, auto pause, because sometimes I'll just mess around and see how well it works in the cold, they didn't work really well. I mean, even the disconnect of the earbuds will go on and off when I mess with the sensors a little too much. So just word of warning, I don't know if you go for evening walks or maybe you work as a delivery driver and cold and it's snowing and it's only like 30-some degrees, you are going to notice that. But that comes with a major pro, and that's the battery life. 8 hours with the earbuds by themselves, 32 hours or up to 32 hours with the charging case, including wireless charging and USB-C fast charging. For me, in the past 5 days I've been using these, I mean, I barely had to even charge them. I mean, I only noticed when the indicator went to low at the 1 bar, and I just kept looking at the app and it was on red or whatever. Thankfully, the app is able to do that because that's the only time I even cared to charge them. Other than that, I mean, it's like all week usage if you're using these just, in your spare time while doing dishes, or, maybe you're listening to an audiobook on a walk or for your workout kind of thing. And they are water resistant. Hold on, let me see exactly what that was again. So it's IPX4 on the rating for water resistant. So basically, sweat and water resistant, just good enough to get a workout in. And when it comes to battery life with ANC on is 6 hours with the earbuds, and about a little over 20, mid 20s, depending, give or take. I mean, I'm giving you estimates because it's just, hey, this is what you may be able to expect if you have ANC on. So with all that being said, next thing I want to get into is the app. Now, when it comes to the app and the customizability, it doesn't matter if it's a single tap to control play or pause on the right earbud, or it's a single tap on the left to cycle through ambient, normal, or even active noise canceling with Hear ID. All that stuff is easy to customize for either earbud, and pretty nice that you can do that, including holding for 2 seconds for volume controls, or even holding 3 for access to your assistant on your phone, whether that's Google, Alexa, or even Siri. It all worked really well, again, except for cold weather. That's the only time I noticed any issues. But besides that, you also have equalization within the app for, controlling all your music sounds, all your presets. I love the Soundcore signature, just total how it comes the way they have the presets. I like leaving it at that. To me, that sounds the best, even before keeping it neutral. Otherwise, I don't really mess with all the EQ settings. I feel like Soundcore, before I get into talking about sound, is good enough for me to where I just don't really need to mess with it too much. So everything in the app is customizable. I prefer to just go with the touch controls and see how good those work. I would say if there's anything I wish they had is when testing out the Sony WF-1000 XM4s, the best thing I loved was speak to chat. I wish all true wireless earbuds had that, but these do have independent usage of the earbuds and multi-point connectivity, so I can only complain so far. So I would say with everything I'm talking about right now, so far the earbuds are like 9 out of 10. Now let's get into the fit. I kind of touched on it earlier, but the only thing I'll say about the fit is they're one of the most comfortable earbuds I've ever used. I don't know what it is that's different about the silicone or just about the design, but they are extremely lightweight. Again, I barely even noticed they're in my ears. And overall, I think I just like the way they look. I like how they just look so futuristic and different. And they're a different company. It's almost like when I had a OnePlus phone, or I still have a OnePlus phone. But when I pull out an iPhone, everyone knows it's an iPhone. But people get most intrigued with something different. And when I pull out a OnePlus phone and I have the fingerprint scanner, or it's just that green color that nobody's ever seen, I get asked about that phone the most. From even if I'm at a Starbucks and I'm using my OnePlus phone and I'm out in public, people usually every now and then come up to me, maybe it's another tech nerd, and they go, "Oh, what phone is that?" And they're all intrigued by it. That's how I feel about these. It's at least something different, you know what I mean? But overall, I just like the colorway. That's the best thing I like about the fit, is how it looks in the ears. I mean, it's just an awesome pair of earbuds. All right, now I had to adjust myself a little bit because I'm going to talk about the sound of these. Now, when it comes to sound quality, each, brand has their sound signature. Bose, very much on the detail and clarity of music. Sony, very much on the bass end. Skull Candy, bass. JBL, mids. AirPods and Apple products, mids and treble. Like, it's kind of like they all have something they're so dominant at, and it's very hard to find a pair of earbuds where it's very universal. Soundcore is very universal, and I think the best way I can explain their sound signature, at least for these, is clarity. Just pure clarity, where I judge them straight out of the box. So not messing with the EQ or anything, leaving everything default the way it is out of the box. And clarity is the main thing that's the main word I can use to describe these. So you can see through the music library I was listening to, I listened to multiple different things. I mean, stuff you probably wouldn't expect, not just hip hop and not just rock music, and not even just typical hip hop or rock music. If you've seen any of my reviews, my music library just is all over the place. Some people may hate it, some people may love it, but hey, it's my music choice. I like what I like. And when it comes to lows, Bass is there, bass is punchy, doesn't distort the music, doesn't make it sound any different than what it's supposed to be. It just increases the bass so you can feel your music more. Mids, nothing too high pitched or nothing out of the ordinary to make it sound like there's too much treble. Like sometimes there's like a scratchy noise with earbuds. Didn't notice any of that at all like I did with Apple products because AirPods Pros are mid heavy, and same thing with the AirPods 3. Very mid-heavy. To sometimes I hear scratchy noises with cymbals and with things like that. Instruments just sound a little off. Now, when it comes to the highs are probably the only thing where I notice a little something where I'm like, man, at loud volumes, it's a little too squeaky depending on who's singing or depending on what you're listening to. If you're watching a movie and it's an action movie, sometimes the highs are a little piercing, but I think the highs are the only weakness when it comes to music quality. Otherwise, they sound great, and I'm talking at a loud volume here to where it's like you really just got to find your tuning. You really just got to adjust it to your liking. And maybe that's going to be the best thing that helps you with your sound experience of these. But I would give it at least an 8 out of 10. Now let's get into active noise canceling, normal mode, and transparency mode, but especially the difference between fully transparent and also the vocal mode. So let's start with active noise canceling. The best comparison that I got when really thinking about it is these have the same ANC capability and what sounds like very comparable with testing them out to the AirPods Pro. These are almost equivalent to those and how they block out the noise. So when it comes to the low, mids, and highs, when it comes to just overall how it felt, that's the best comparison I got. Now, you may not have the AirPods Pro or care about it, but in other words, it's just overall well balanced to block out everything to where nothing is dominant when it comes to like high pitched frequencies. Yeah, I heard some, coffee pitchers and steaming, milk pitchers and whatnot. Silverware when doing dishes came through a little too strong. Elite 7 Pro somehow was the best at blocking out those high pitched frequencies. The WXM4s are the best overall at subduing, just immersing yourself in the sound by blocking out as much noise as possible and volume. These are like the AirPods Pro. So in my book, that's the best way I can describe it. I give that like an 8 out of 10 when it comes to ANC with these. Just good enough to where you feel like you have your money's worth for sure. Now with normal mode, there's passive isolation, but it's normal mode. I mean, you kind of don't feel like anything much is going on besides just noticing a little bit of passive noise isolation in your ears. Now with transparency mode, vocal mode is good and best for hearing yourself talk. It amplifies and really focuses what it sounds like, how you would sound on a phone call kind of thing. But when it comes to it making a difference with hearing other people's voices, I didn't really know. I mean, distance-wise and everything, it's not like anybody's voice increased in volume. And I even tested this at the coffee shop and talking with friends or the neighbor or whenever I had the chance purposely to activate it. I did it and it just didn't really increase the volume or anything. It just made my voice sound louder and more clearer. Now with transparency mode fully on, I feel like it doesn't sound that artificial at all. Things sound natural. Didn't sound echoey or anything. It just really sounded like they tuned the mics to really just be like, hey, let's bring in ambient noise as natural as possible. And I hate to compare it to the AirPods Pro again because some of you may be big Android fans. You may hate Apple. But it sounds like the AirPods Pro where somehow they just made it sound very natural to where it sounded like you didn't really have earbuds in. You hear the mics pick up noise, but it wasn't that drastic. It's actually pretty low with ambient noise and it's sounding artificial. I still gotta say, would I recommend these? I have to put it in this kind of context. For me personally, overall user experience, the best true wireless earbuds I've used are the Jabra Elite 7 Pros. Now, I may seem very biased, but that's just for me personally because of the call quality experience and the physical push-in of the buttons. Because it's a matte finish, I never had any issues with touch controls in the cold weather or when I'm doing dishes and my fingers are a little bit wet and I'm trying to use the touch controls. And the sensors for muting a phone call and just overall, now that Jabra has mono mode, it changed the game for them being the best overall for, I hate to say it this way, but business use, where I feel confident making phone calls with those than I do these. Besides those two things, I gotta say these are second to the Elite 7 Pro. So I'm almost saying these are number one probably for most people to get for the price and the overall experience of how these are used. I mean, the ANC is great. Sound quality is awesome. You can customize literally everything to the ear wings and the ear tips to the best a company can make the ability of doing it. I mean, what more do you need? And the price is low. I mean, it's still, you know, $30 more. I almost said 20, like I can't do math, but it's still $30 cheaper than the Elite 7 Pros, which I say take the crown. I would say the other thing too is the colorways. The colorways are another big selling point. Just looking at everybody else's reviews and all the colors they come in, I think they come in like a blue, the white, and then the black, and like a pinkish color. Soundcore is like one of the only companies that customizes their colors to that extent. So that's why it was a really tough job. But if it wasn't for the things I mentioned, you know, these pretty much take the crown. So thanks for watching this review. I hope it was helpful, and I'll see y'all on the next one.